The Death Eaters are Voldemort's inner circle, and many of us are aware that these dark wizards and witches are an absolute brutal force who show no mercy or sympathy for any of their victims. Why, you may ask? Well, it's simple. Everything they do is in the name of Lord Voldemort. They are completely devoted to him, a lifetime of service, hence the Death Eater tattoo. However, what many of us Harry Potter fans fail to remember is the fact that Voldemort was over 71 years of age when he died at the Battle of Hogwarts in 1998. That's not exactly old in terms of wizarding standards, but still it's 71 years. So that means he had at least 35 years on the majority of his followers, which means, what was Voldemort up to when he was in his 20s and 30s? Yeah, I know he worked at Borgin and Burke for some time, but there was no Lucius Malfoy, there was no Bellatrix Lestrange or Severus Snape in the late 40s and 50s. So that leaves the question, were there Death Eaters before the Death Eaters? Surely Tom Riddle would have had to had some sort of support or followers back then. And the truth is, he did. He always had people around him, willing to do his dirty work, people who believed they were his friends, but unknowingly to them, the friendship was not returned. Tom Riddle had no desire for friends, he had no desire for love or to even be loved. He only cared for himself, and it remained that way until he died. So anyway, let's go back in time, back to when Tom was a student in Hogwarts. Now, it's important to remember that Tom was quite an established person, and even more so of an established wizard. He was hailed as the greatest student to walk the halls of Hogwarts since, you've guessed it, Albus Dumbledore. So with that reputation came respect, and many students sought to be in his company. Many students sought his approval, and there were even some who shared his own views on blood purity. So, the term Death Eater wasn't coined until Voldemort properly mounted his challenge on the wizarding world in the mid to late 60s. He disappeared for 10 years, remember, apparently to Albania, where he delved deeper and deeper into dark magic. Now that leaves the question, what happened before all that? He was going by the name of Lord Voldemort during his remaining months in Hogwarts, and his friends or followers really did buy into his beliefs. So, did this group of Slytherin students go by a name? Well, it seems like it. The boys even helped Riddle open the Chamber of Secrets more than once. These pre-Death Eaters were known as the Knights of Walpurgis, and there's a whole section of lore dedicated to just them and what they truly stood for. J.K. Rowling herself said it back in 2003 that she had a full in-depth history on the history of the Death Eaters written out. However, the issue is, she didn't think she'd ever need it, and that's the harsh reality to this day. She didn't need it, she never needed it, and we don't know all the things that the Knights of Walpurgis did, but with that being said, there is a way of figuring out why they chose the name they did, and thus what they actually stood for. There's a lot of information in a name, guys. So, the theory goes that when Salazar Slytherin left Hogwarts, he didn't exactly leave alone. It wasn't a case of everyone against Slytherin, let's forget him and move on. There were many who supported the Hogwarts founder, many who believed he was doing the right thing, and these followers became the Knights of Walpurgis. Now, the Knights were founded to protect the wizarding race against Muggle attacks. However, as time went on, wizards became a lot better at disguising themselves from Muggles, and they built hidden cities and created relationships with Muggles of elite political power in order to sustain their magical economy. And with the wizarding race now hidden, the Knights were no longer needed, but the organisation never truly went away. So, let's just get back to the name for a brief moment. It's a play on the word Walpurgis Night, which is an event taken from German folklore. Now, this event sees witches revel with the devil, basically a celebration of the power of magic. So the Knights, ever a servant of magic, adopted the name Knights of Walpurgis. They're kind of like the Freemasons, a secret organisation who operated in the background going about their bidding. As a matter of opinion, I'd say the Malfoys have been members of the Knights for centuries, which explains why they were so blunt and abrupt when it came to their stance on maintaining a pure blood society. Now, Tom Riddle isn't a person whose name is steeped in magical prosperity, accompanied by a long history, so he was never going to be sought out. But what couldn't be ignored was his magical talent. He was something else, guys. He was absolutely out of this world. Now, with that being said, it's my belief and opinion that Tom, being the rightful heir to Salazar Slytherin and being aware of him being the first leader of the Knights of Walpurgis, wanted to honour the wizarding community by continuing on the tradition with his own group of friends and continuing on the noble work of the Hogwarts founder, Salazar Slytherin, the man who inspired the creation of the Knights in the first place. So why did they just reappear after Tom left? Why did he re-establish the Knights on his emergence? Because he didn't want to embrace another man's stable. No matter how much he admired Salazar Slytherin, Tom Riddle wanted his own servants, he wanted his own faction. He wanted a lifetime of servitude from his supporters. And that's it, guys. The story of the Knights of Walpurgis, the very first Death Eaters before the Death Eaters. Anyway, what you all think, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you all in the very next video. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate your support. Everyone, notifications of uploads are more important than ever. So please, if you haven't already, turn those notifications on to make sure you're notified the moment my video goes live. Making videos is what I love to do. It's my dream and my passion. However, it does cost time and money to produce this content. So if you have $1 to spare to support me on Patreon in exchange for some exclusive unseen content, then you can click the Patreon link below or at the end of this video. Please only support me if you can afford it. And make sure to follow me on Instagram at InstaDeanJ and on Twitter at PotterFolklore. Check out my other videos appearing on screen, and please make sure, most importantly, to hit that subscribe button. Thanks again everyone, and please have a great day.